Hey everybody, it's Mental, it's Eric. We're back from I'm back from New Hampshire, our annual Halloween Hoopty Fest. This one had a lighter feel with lobsters, calisthenics, and an IOE race for the ages. Let's get to it.
You know, we sold out this race in 2024, so we added another race to the schedule at Summit Point, which kind of made everything perfect. We had fewer cars, a nice 97 car field. That meant way more room to race, and the least crashy New England race anybody could remember. The judges even got some nice R&R time, and we got some good weather to boot. That was all hella sweet. You know, it's almost like we have the East Coast schedule just absolutely nailed down. We have Summit in New Hampshire in October, we have Thompson in New Jersey in the summer, and we open the season at Pit Race.
So about 10 days before this race, Pit Race announced that it was closing. That erased our scheduled and confirmed dates for 2026. Fittingly, the number 82 HOA Focus held a wake for Pit Race. This track is going to be replaced by a data center.
Allegedly.
On our 2026 schedule, it will be replaced by
Nelson Ledges.
Now, New England always requires an amazing crew of judges, and we have one this year. It was Mental, Julian, Janice, and Dave Eckel.
We had honorary help from Judge Ian, a friend of the Lanza Scorpion racers, and Junior Judge Michael, whose dad repeatedly breaks the Hack Factory Monte Carlo.
Now, that entire all-star cast meant that we had some fantastic penalties.
We had our penalized drivers take a quiz about yellow flags.
We had the classic door prize penalty.
And we had a new one, where a team had to call the Lemons phone number and leave a bedtime story for the Lemons voicemail.
On a mesa of golden grasses, a wild Mustang named Cedar lived with his herd.
Now, take note other regions, because the East Coast racers tend to theme hard, and this was no exception.
Car 16, Slippery Slope. It was a firefighter's theme, and they had judges practicing stop, drop, and roll.
Squid Rope Racing has this Batman-themed BMW with a hood that is nicer than most of the art in my office. No offense to everybody else.
Offense taken!
76, Stupid Simple Tools with their Goldmember MR2 reenacting the hallway scene from Austin Powers.
The Wicked Fast and Furious was one of many Porsche pink pig themes we've seen over the years, but this was the first one with a butcher. That's well done. Or maybe medium rare.
816, Few Screws Loose. Another BMW E30, and they were back with their unsettling Cindy Lou Who Grinch theme.
Far From NASCAR had an Antifa theme. That's anti-fast.
Poors Racing in a Ford Thunderbird.
Backwoods Motorworks had a lumberjack theme, and that means
Wood, what can it do?
Walker Racing was back. Always love seeing their slows, no improvement theme. Their driver doesn't love nobody waiting for him at the pit stop.
We mentioned the Hack Factory Racing Monte Carlo earlier. They did a great 1980s workout theme.
7-Eleven, half-mast 7-Eleven. And us team started out with a great ride that we were chafing to use all weekend. An entire tube of Chameau's butter to complement their excellent 80s 7-Eleven Tour de France theme.
We had two Taco Bell themed cars. We had the Baja Banditos with their Subaru Baja that is themed after the Mountain Dew Baja Blast that is only available at Taco Bell, or used to be. Anyway, love that. Love a Subaru Baja. And new this year is the Crunch Wraps Datsun 280Z. This team apparently bases most of their life decisions around Taco Bell, so much so that one of their team members proposed at a Taco Bell.
Well, we're waiting.
Oh, yeah, so she said yes. Anyway, they were in competition for Class B before running over some parts from another car which had fallen off.
On the subject of quasi-new themes and cars from Japan, Loose Deuce, doing business as Martin Shkreli, debuted their new RX-8 with engine from a Honda Odyssey. Now, the theme, they repitched it as this tech bro speech, and if you don't remember why, it's because Martin Shkreli raised the drug price from $1,350 to $750. Then he bought the sole copy of the Wu-Tang Clan album, Once Upon a Shaolin, which he had to then auction to pay his legal fees. Now, how'd their weekend go? They tossed a crank pulley. They had to get that one replaced. They blew up their clutch. They got those parts of Manny Mo and Jack. They had to go find another part from a manual Ford Fusion. But that just goes to prove that parts are temporary, but Wu-Tang is forever.
Hack Stuff Racing, Chevy S10. It's a manly truck with a manly engine, so it got a manly theme. Kitty cats. That's right. They were racing in memory of all the cats that have shared their lives, past and present. I know something about loving an animal. This is my dog. It's Great Pyrenees. He just looks like this compared to me, because I'm huge.
McGrath Services has a Tercel that has been around with several teams over the years. It's got this ITB set up on the stock 1.5 liter engine. Obviously, that is the ticket to domination.
Now, you've got Deutsche Bank Racing and their VW Jetta TDI, and these are young folks that have figured out how to be competitive by being slow and steady. They also themed well, doing a German beer stand complete with Lederhosen to raise money for charity on Saturday night at the potluck. They did very uncharacteristically put the car on the wall on Saturday, but they straightened the car, deleted a bunch of the munched turbo plumbing, and then took the checkered flag, and that was hella sweet.
Sesame Street Outlaws got hit a couple times throughout the weekend and broke the plastic fender on the rear of their Saturn wagon. Exposed way too much of the wheel for us to let them go back out, but they had a novel solution to this problem.
Now, their other car, the Studebaker Commander, was another bid for IOE, and this time with less scary steering setup. Had a few issues, came up short, but my God, they're going to get an IOE before too long. It just looks spectacular.
We had a surprising number of Porsches at this race. We had a bunch of 944s, a couple of 924s, and an LS swapped 914, which got 24 penalty laps. One fewer than we gave them last time. Now, this car was beautiful, and it has a checkered history in lemons. It tends to like the walls a little too much, but they were actually kind of slow this time. Didn't run the whole weekend, but fortunately only ended up with one fender scuff. Why you ruin classic?
Sorry for Party bought their Porsche 944. They're twice Class B winning. Yes, they've won in South Carolina and California, but it broke from competitive second place. But didn't they have fun?
Sorry for Party also revived the Firebird for another run.
Yes.
And while they didn't put a wheel where it didn't belong,
Yes.
they immediately walled it in Friday practice.
Yes.
And the best part of waking up is frame welding on your hoopty.
Yes.
Didn't really stop them or slow them down from partying all weekend though.
Yes.
They hosted a fantastic potluck,
Yes.
which, if we're honest, is kind of standard for Sorry for Party.
Yes.
So we gave them the Time to Party Award.
Yes.
Here are your class winners.
Class B, nothing but a Z thing. First race was decades ago. Always flown under the radar and haven't really put together a good race in a while. Finally stuck the landing in Class B. Well done.
Your Class C winner was Flatball Racing, and this Lancia Scorpion has come an incredibly long way. We first saw it in California like 9 years ago. It was basically a bunch of parts kind of held together. The team out there ran it several years, won an IOE, and then immediately sold it to the current team captain, Lucas. All he's done with it was earn another IOE, put a crazy-ass turbo setup on it that looks like it should work in absolutely no way. It did, and it crushed Class C.
Heroic fix. White Powder Racing sent the Power Rangers to dominate the evil Mustangs that were littering the paddock, using their fairly well put together E36 and a lot of energy. Now, it's that youthful spirit, definitely the youthful spirit of White Powder Racing that keeps that team going. And they needed it too after it came together with the other Power Rangers car, the underpowered Rangers, early on in turn one. They spent several hours with precise method for straightening their car and then sent it back out on track where all of the electronics shorted out because of a smooshed battery cable. No problem. They sent the car back out and the driver radioed that the car suddenly sounded too good. Yeah, their exhaust was back in turn 9, but they finished the race with their garbage still running-ish.
I Got Screwed went to the Cream Team and Cream Logistics, which is your classic two-car team with a lot of parts interchangeability, a Saturn wagon, and a BMW 3 Series. Now, their interesting weekend started with an engine failure on Friday in the Saturn. They had no backup engine, so half the team went searching for an engine, while the other half pulled the dead one. About an hour into the race on Saturday, and still partway through their Saturn engine swap, the tow truck deposited the E30 right in front of their garage with a grenaded transmission, and in the midst of chasing down the engine, another team member had noticed that their tow vehicle was not running perfectly. Normally you would think this would be an all-hands-on-deck situation, but Saturday night the team had arranged to settle a crucial inter-team argument. Can you taste the difference between cheap butter and bougie butter? I mean, these are the real questions racetracks were meant to tackle. Meanwhile, the one non-butter inclined team member finished up the engine swap, took it for a 10-mile-an-hour crawl through the paddock, and in the relative quiet of the evening noticed that the entire rear suspension had rusted off of the car and was no longer attached. They cut their losses, they unplugged the bad fuel injector on the one cylinder of their tow truck, and took the flat route home. Yeah, they probably made it back to Rochester, and they definitely got screwed.
Our regional award was the Spirit of Granite. That went to the Audi Live Free or DNF. Now these are hometowners and one of our favorite cars. Eric called it probably the best Audi A6 in lemons. It's got a snowmobile engine in the back seat. They showed up in costume parading for their favorite state, New Hampshire. The car was probably a half decibel from the noise limit, amplified from the stands banking on the speedway, meant that at any time during the race, you knew if this team was on or off the track. Now, we're not totally sure how this is supposed to work, but the two-cycle snowmobile engine in the back of the car is driving the wheels via some Rube Goldberg contraption. It had issues. Fortunately for them, when the engine in the back stopped working, they had the somehow reliable Audi engine driving up front. They shredded the snowmobile engine belt left and right, couldn't figure out why. Eventually, they solid mounted the two-stroke to the frame to keep the torque from affecting the alignment between the two conical pulleys. It seemed like this might actually work, running most of Sunday until their motorcycle chain shattered, and then it just became another crappy Audi. At least they didn't have to add two-cycle engine oil at every pit stop.
We had another special trophy, the Live Free and Never Say Die. It went to Fiasco Rally Sport and their Mercure XR4 Ti. Now this team has a special form of masochism. They spent most of last year trying to keep the flywheel connected to the engine and not self-immolating, which it did. But these guys have been racing for ages. They come from the Saab rally world, so they are unscared.
So did they get their non-turbo Mercure running right and race ready for redemption?
No, they blew up on Friday morning practice and had the engine coming out before we had even had breakfast.
Well, surely their well-prepared spare would take them to victory.
No, it had a bizarre head gasket failure like a couple hours into the race on Saturday, so they changed the head gasket, went back out, and lasted 18 laps. Probably should have gotten the warranty on the head gasket. So they pulled the engine out again, replaced the head gaskets again, and then took the opportunity to modify the car to make repeated engine swaps easier, because you gotta make it easier for yourself the fourth time.
Third engine's the charm?
No, no. This one was overheating and spewing water for the rest of the day. They didn't stop because they gave up, by the way. They stopped because there were no more engines left in New England for them to destroy. Judge's choice went to Bad News Bears and their Toyota Yaris. Why? Well, we love rookie teams, we love art, we love a good story, we love slow race cars, we love kids in bear costumes. So when the Bad News Bears put all of these things together with the Toyota Yaris, we had to give them a trophy. Why were they called the Bad News Bears? Well, the car hit a bear.
Pulled over and I picked up the bear. I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park.
They drove great all weekend. They had an awesome attitude. This is fantastic.
Now, the organizer's choice was the Boss Hogs and a Toyota Camry. We love boring computers made into race cars almost as much as we love Malaise era machines. It's even better when they have a vehicularly and regionally mismatched theme. This export-only 6th generation Camry is ubiquitous as frosted tips and trucker caps from the same era, so why not lean into it? Orange paint and some cowboy outfits? Bam! It's the theme.
Halloween Meets Gasoline went to the Boston Whiners and their BMWs. Now, everybody loves an underdog story, and of course the Boston Whiners guys, they win all the time. They bring BMWs.
Eric.
Yeah.
It says Boston Wieners.
Wieners? That's weird. Well, I forget the actual race stuff. You know, Andy and Anton from this team finally figured it out. They came theming hard. They had big wieners. They had little wieners. They were making sure everybody had a taste of the wieners from their cart. They even had a wiener GPT AI training algorithm to use Lemon's expertise to determine the future of wieners. There was rarely a moment in the paddock when a wiener wasn't riding past on a moped or something. As we mentioned at the top, so many good themes, but the Boston Wieners really just raised their sausage game this time. Oh, and they won the race, but you know, who cares?
Now, an IOE honorable mention, Cool Hair Racing in an Opel Manta. So before we get to the index of affluency, we wanted to point that this was largely a 2-car IOE race between 2 exceptional rookie teams. Now, despite my objection to their name, Cool Hair Racing Opel Manta sent the old Lemon's crap can senses tingling. I mean, there's an entire German action film dedicated to the Opel Manta.
Manta, Manta.
So a Manta is thrilling, and we had high hopes for them, but a fan chewed through their radiator early in the race, setting them back for most of the weekend while they chased down something that fit. Turns out, Ford Ranger is close enough. They came up short on the IOE, but not in our hearts.
The index of affluency did go to Team Fubar and their MGB GT. Now, these guys were the kings of slow and steady, and when we say slow, we mean slow. Now, this was a team of very new racers with some wide-eyed youths and the obligatory old guy who knows carbs. This MG was as MGB as you could be, but the classic Uniroyal Tiger Paws are the epitome of black rubber tires that can go on a car, but nevertheless they kept their slow homage to British stateliness out of everybody's way, kept it going all weekend, and despite the utter absence of pace, it was remarkable how it beat 12 teams while looking absolutely amazing. This is how you do it, these are the kinds of cars you should bring, and this is Lemons in a nutshell.
Every second you don't subscribe or watch one of these videos, another Vega is sent to the crusher. Won't you help us save Classic?